Peace. It's the Almighty Infinite Kane, aka Young Salcedo, aka the Black Hunk. And I really just came on here to build with y'all on the Truth Day, and talk to you about a few things. I won't keep you long, but I'm definitely going to keep it strong. As I was building with my good brother, in truth, we were having a conversation about legacy. A lot of people use these buzzwords of legacy and generational wealth, and they talk about a lot of those things, but they don't really know what they mean. So I want to talk a little bit about my own legacy. One of the coolest things that he said to me was, he said, the first word of legacy is legs. And that stood out so much to me because it's real. You know what I mean? What's the foundation? What you standing on? What is, how did this all start? How did this all come about? And I think you made a fantastic point in talking about that. And I want to expound upon it. When we talk about legacy with me, and you see some of my art, and sometimes it looks miscellaneous, or sometimes it looks, unpalatable. Sometimes it looks cryptic. Sometimes it just looks abstract. My legacy, or my legs, I stand on the shoulders of giants. What do I mean by that? I don't talk about it much because it's been something I just didn't want to talk about. I just wanted to do the work, but I want to say shout out to the ancestors. Shout out to my grandmother, Frances Anita Smith Kane. Amazing. You know what I mean? One of the most incredible women to ever live. A lot of the things that she did for the community were just outstanding. My grandmother was an evangelist. My grandmother's father and family were owners of Apple Ridge Day Camp. It was a away camp owned by black people for till now, damn near. She also was one of the biggest people to impact the Woodlawn organization, TWO. It's in the film about Fred Hampton. There's a scene where a woman makes a interjection between a street gang and the Black Panther Party. That was actually my grandmother. One of her best friends in the world, who's our godmother, is Barbara Sizemore, who the school's named after, but was one of the first officials in the White House in education as a black woman. So I stand on the shoulders of giants, and so a lot of times my rhetoric or my art is coming up through the elevation about that. You know what I mean? Shout out to my grandfather, Charles Edward Lampkins. My grandfather was just a veteran and an outstanding man. Like, he's the first person I've seen who took care of his family. You know what I mean? But he took care of his family in a very strategic way. The life was set up by the time I got there in such a beautiful way for me to follow. He had the house. In the back of the house was the school. Across the street from the school was the grocery store. A half a block from the school, across the street from the school, basically, it was a gas station. And then cat a corner from that was the church. Then if you go a block down the street, there's one of the biggest and most beautiful parks down there, Eastside Crazy. You know what I mean? Of Russell Square. So just beautiful, amazing people. Shout out to my grandmother who passed back in January. A lot of people pronounce her name Almeida, but it's not Almeida, it's Almeda. And anybody that knows what all means is everything, and meta means above. So my grandmother's name is Almeda Lampkins, light people. You know what I mean? Just incredible. One of the most loving people I've ever met in my life. I love my grandmother dearly. My grandmother loved me dearly. I was her first grandson, and she really was always proud of me. And she really always cared about how my heart felt. And she really always cared about what I thought and how I was feeling. My grandmother was the first person I seen be a photographer. So that's where I get that from. I picked it up seeing my brother do it and kind of like tinker with it in high school, but he was more of a visual artist, like drawing and painting. If you don't get down, T'Challa, cats losing their head. Pardon self. So I seen him tinker with it, but he was more a visual artist, like a painter and things like that. But my grandmother was really the influence behind my photography. And she took pictures all the time. She took pictures of everybody and everything and every occasion. She's a very beautiful woman, inside and out. And also my grandmother, she didn't have to work, but she liked to work. She liked to move it. She liked to be busy, you know what I mean? Her birthday just passed, August 10th, on the Justice Day. She liked to be outside, you know what I mean? So she actually worked as a lunch lady and a substitute teacher at Kenwood Academy, which I ended up going. So a lot of things you see me do are not just my own works. They're a continuance or the work of the ancestors directly bestowed upon me. And I haven't always seen it that way, but I see it that way now. You know what I mean? Like I see it I see it very clearly now. Also, shout out to my grandfather, Frank Preacher Boyle. Just look him up. You know what I mean? He's one of the greatest folk artists of all time. And when I say great, I don't mean by like commercial notoriety. I mean what he did for the people. He used art as a ministry to lift people up. He found his calling in a liquor bottle. And he took that to the next level and made it his art, and it became some of the most impactful art of all time. And he's been featured in plenty of things, Chicago Reader, Details magazines, and things like that. So when you see what I'm doing, when you see my art or you see my work or you see how I just am, you know what I mean? I stand on the shoulders of giants. And, their work, you can't let that be in vain. My dad is just incredible. Aquaman Senior, aka OG Killer Crossover. OG Killer Crossover. I'll talk more about him at another time. I love you, Pops, and I appreciate you so much. My mom, I'll talk about her at another time. It's her birthday, by the way. Happy birthday, Mom. And yeah, man, I said that to say I stand on the shoulders of giants. And so what you're looking at is the advancement or the articulation of what that looks like going forward. The genre that I'm working on is a part of my book called Cracking Christianity. And the name of the genre is crack rock. Because with a lot of these great things that I'm talking about, one of the biggest robbers in all of these circumstances was crack. And they threw Christianity at you. So they murdered the leaders, then threw crack out there. And then they threw Christianity at them to revive them, as if that's what was lifting them up in the first place. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's a really interesting anomaly. What circumstance? A lot of people would ask, like, what's your market? Like, what's your market, or who are you targeting? who I'm targeting is people who are interested in more than just one degree, right? A circle is 360 degrees. A square is 360 degrees. So there's more than one degree. And when you're on the quad, that square, and there's different schools on the square, you're actually only looking at 1/4 of the situation. And they limit you to 1 or 2 degrees. So my music is for those people who are looking for more than 1, 2, or 3 degrees. My music is for people who are looking beyond. My art is about sustainability. What will lead us into the next 3,000 years as a civilization? Because a lot of these concepts are just old and primitive, and they're leading you into a conundrum of yourself, of getting caught up. And that's why I'm coming out with crack rock. You know what I mean? To show you how to cook up. Because a lot of the shit that we going through, you know what I'm saying, it got us displaced because they see how powerful we were. And I just want y'all to know what I'm about. I want y'all to know what my story is about. I want y'all to understand my art, that I'm speaking a language with those who are about that type of advancement and are about that type of unity. Because it's not just something I heard, it's something that I seen and lived myself, of what it takes to elevate to the highest level of existence. Experience is the best teacher. And I have made sure that I have put myself through some of the greatest experiences I can, so I can be able to teach civilization with others, to others. And I have been beaten with many stripes through doing that, or learning how to do that. I've been doing an experimental continuous beat project called Where Do Albinos Go After High School? What that project is about is me as a youth, and my stepfather told me about this, and I remember it once he brought it up to me. We were at the country club, and Dick Gregory walked past, and Dick Gregory seen my mother and seen him and seen me. We were just chilling. And, he came by and he just started talking to us. And he really took a liking to me, and he started talking to me. And my stepfather was telling me this, and I remember. He was talking to me about activated charcoal and how you can get activated charcoal from burnt toast. He was just telling me, is just telling us about these things. I used to wonder why my mother used to always be like, that's roughage, or you get that from burnt toast and da-da-da-da. But my stepdad gave some context. It was from a conversation that we were having with Dick Gregory and what he was teaching me. And one of the things that Dick Gregory said is, that's where I got the title, is Where Do Albinos Go After High School? It's one of those projects that's experimental. It makes you think. And that's the realm of thinking that I'm in right now, is where do albinos go after high school? It's a forward-thinking concept. Like, when the last time you seen an albino person? Like, where did they go? Like, where they at? Seriously. And so that's just to get the mind going. Sometimes I do things that are provocative or daring just to get the brain going and just to get you moving. Just to get you moving, you know what I'm saying? And just to get you motivated. And that's leading to my genre of crack rock. And crack rock is rock and roll on crack. You know what I'm saying? It's like super fucking turn. And yeah, man, I came on here because I miss my dad. I miss my grandma. I find myself thinking about them and thinking about the circumstances that I'm going through. And I started thinking about a situation where we were living in a shelter when I was younger. As my mother, she doesn't like to talk about it. And she, oh, it wasn't that long of a time. It was long of enough time. You know, and we were staying in a shelter, and it was a very like shameful experience for me. It was a very new experience and shocking. I used to sneak out of there, and because I was embarrassed and didn't want anybody to really see me, and I just kept my grades up during that time, and you know, just tried to hold it together. But one of the biggest parts was when we finally did get somewhere to live. It was probably one of the biggest places we ever lived in. And we got somewhere to live over east. It was perfect. And I just remember us all, it had some damages though. My mother was like, we getting in here now. We'll pull a carpet up ourselves. We don't care if it had a flood and da-da-da-da. And, you know, we all slept in one room. You know, me and my 3 brothers and my mom, we slept in one room. And I had never been happier in life, I don't think. I've never been more grateful in my entire life than at that moment. So when you're feeling down, or you're feeling like shit is bad or shit is going wrong, hold on, run the course, push through. Because